by Augustinian monks, the Order of St. Augustine, in a moment of haze because the non-Catholic Christians and the Hebrews in Egypt and Arabia had come together and had converted many Ishmaelites to either Hebraic Judaism or non-Catholic Christianity. And the Bishop of Egypt, Augustine, and his Order of St. Augustine Mendicant Order of monks and friars was having trouble converting the Sabian Arab moon worshippers, pagans, to Catholicism. And thus they brought a certain member of the tribe of the House of Colonna, who we know as the Baphomet, to be a prophet to the Ishmaelites. And there is a racial link between the Ishmaelite Sabian moon worshippers and the Joachimite Illuminati as they were at the time. So there is this sort of Gaelic / Arab Druidry crossover link that I'm very interested in investigating further, and would like to explore basically as a career choice, as it were, like, because my theories have become pretty solid, and David Icke can kiss my ass now with all that Sumerian business, because I believe that this Gaelic / Arab crossover, Druidic, Illuminati, racial subtype is related to the women of the tribe of Dan being raped by the Nephilim, which were Lucifer's rebellion against Yahweh come down to earth, and they basically were predators upon the women of the tribe of Dan, and they come to earth mainly in the Golan Heights, I believe, which is in the north of what is modern day state of Rothschild, Israel. I don't like to call it the real land of Israel because it's a state within the United Nations, which is Vatican, Roman Catholic Church, global government system, and it's the, basically, as Eric John Phelps calls it, the Pope's Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem. And there is a king of Jerusalem who is Juan Carlos de Bourbon II Sicilies, but the House of Bourbon II Sicilies is actually the House of Farnese Continuum, and it is a crusader state, effectively, and in a state of turmoil. And it is a lie that the Palestinians are being treated in such a way by the Hebrews as the Hebrews were treated themselves by the Nazis. This is absolute horse shit, because people who have had bad shit to them don't tend to treat other people as badly as they are made out to. Indeed, Ramallah and places such as that are being built up in the same way as Dubai is, because the Illuminati orders wish to, basically, now that their filth is being unveiled to the masses and there is a grand awakening going on, and people will begin to wake up to the absolute vulgar conditions of our society and the disgusting nature of the Illuminati that basically attempt to control our minds with this mind parasite that is eating away at our third eyes, our senses, and creating this mass of brainwashed zombies. They wish to make a run for it and hedge their bets behind the nations such as Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Middle East. That's why they built up Saudi Arabia to be a fortress, and they are building up Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Qatar to be the financial capital of the new Holy Roman Ishmaelite Empire, building up the area of what is today Israel, Palestine, to be, I hesitate to use the word Palestine because Palestine's never actually been a state, to be the spiritual center with the third Temple of Solomon rebuilt. And indeed there's a cooperation between Donald Trump and certain Pharisee rabbis, Sadducee rabbis and scribe rabbis who I do not see as Hebrew, to rebuild the third Temple of Solomon. And I don't believe the Temple of Solomon should ever have been built at all, because Solomon came from a different continuum through David's mishap with an Ishmaelite woman, and Hiram Abiff was Ishmaelite, and Yahushua the Christ come through a different seed line of David and an Israelite woman, not an Ishmaelite woman. So the seed of Solomon is not Hebrew, as it were. So, and I believe that that temple should never have been built, and it's simply going to be used for all sorts of sacrificial rites in the same way that the Vatican is. And we had the Salisbury Cathedral. There's been an unbroken chain of black masses there since 1390, and the Knights Templar got control of the United Kingdom sphere in 1381, and England was actually given to the Pope in 1213, and we had been chattel slaves of the Pope since then. But it seemed like the Templars and the Pope had fallen out in around between 1307 and 1314, but the Pope actually forgave the Templars in 1308, so the whole crucifixion and burning of Jacques de Molay was basically a farce to make it look like the Templars and the Catholic Church Continuum had fallen out. But this wasn't actually the case, as the Pope forgave the Templars in 1308, and so the whole subjugation of the Templars and subjugation of the Jesuits in 1773 were shams to basically co-opt more power for the Templar and Jesuit orders in that succession over time, because the Vatican rules the earth. Just as the Church of England was never separate from the Roman Catholic Church, it was simply a sham, and seemingly wouldn't the Roman Catholic Church want Spain and Portugal to rule the earth, not Britain. Britain supposedly being Protestant, but it was all absolutely fine because the Church of England never actually broke off from the Church of Rome at all. And I'm not sure where I'm going with this rant. What point was I making about half an hour ago? So I was making some sort of link between Ishmaelites and Roman Catholics. Oh yes, so the replacement theology, and the link between replacement theology and Islam is that both these monotheisms were created by the same polytheistic Order of the Ninth Circle of Saturn, who are pagan and mainly worship all sorts of deities: Baal, Kybel, Mammon, the Baphomet, and Molech, and various others. And they are Satanist pagans who drink adrenochrome and flesh eat, cannibalistic, fetishistic, necrophilic beasts, really, and all sorts of terms we could use to describe the Order of the Ninth Circle of Saturn Illuminatists. But they impose monotheisms on the population as a mind control trap. So basically the whole populace is under a soft MK Ultra program. Indeed, the soft MK Ultra operation that you watching this have been under is something called Operation Mockingbird, and the television programs that you watch have a certain beat time to it within the screenplay, whereby you're basically hypnotized by the musical beat of the rhythms of the screenshots. But I'm not a technological genius in that regard, so I can't explain how it works, but it's something, certain beats per minute, and hypnotizes you into, lulls you into a certain state of tranquility whereby you are absolutely brainwashed and dominated by what you see on the screen, and they are able to propagate their bullshit into your minds, and you are unable to escape that continual vortex of bullshit. And it's a soft mind control mechanism, whereas I've had direct mind control mechanisms on me, and my brain's been lobotomized, and I've whistleblown on too many people now that it is all becoming rather too stressful for my sanity, really, because I don't know, because I'm surrounded by brainwashed masses of people I'm attempting to wake up, but all they're doing is snitching on me. So will you please now stop snitching and stop listening to them, because I am actually trying to tell you a little bit of truth here. So please, for me,